I know it's your first film. Why did you want to make Red, White, and Royal Blue?
It was about February 2020, and my agent sent me the book. And I had just opened Inheritance on Broadway, and I was looking to do something new. I wanted to start looking for a film to make. And then this book came along, and I just knew about page 50. I kind of knew that this was the thing I wanted to do. And then the rest of the book was essentially me already starting to figure out how I might be able to make a film work out of this book. And I found out that Greg Berlanti, who was one of the producers of The Inheritance, had acquired the rights. And I lobbied him and Sarah Schechter, his business partner, and eventually, they came to me and said, yeah, let's do this. And then that became the last 2.5 years of my life. I really, really responded so much to the optimism of the book. I really loved the fact that it was this queer romance with a happy ending and with really idiosyncratic, vibrant characters. I love that there was a Latine bisexual Southern boy in the lead. There's so much I could relate to in this book. And when you contemplate spending 2 years working on something, you had better really like it, and you better really be excited about it, or you better really be excited about the paycheck, I guess. But for me, I really needed my first film to be something that I was passionate about, that I was going to sacrifice sleep for. And this was it for sure.
So you said you were reading it, and then 50 pages in, you knew you had to make this a movie. What was that defining moment for you?
The fans of the book will tell me how wrong I am at this. So it's probably not at page 50, but their first kiss, I think the way Casey described the first kiss was so cinematic. I could see the movie. The movie was just unspooling in my head as I was reading it. And I love that it was this, a New Year's Eve in snowy White House grounds. I thought there was something just inherently cinematic about so much of the book. And I really kind of fell for the swoony romantic quality of Casey's writing.
Was there a scene or two from the book that you thought, okay, man, I better get this just right?
There was, the cake scene, of course.
Yeah.
I think that for many reasons, it's the opening of the film. It really establishes the characters so much, but it's also just the most iconic moment in the book, one of the most iconic moments in the book. And so there were a million reasons why I knew I needed to get it right. And it was also the most technical thing I had filmed up to that point. I think we shot it in our second week. And, the first few days of filming were pretty gentle on me and everybody. And then we had this 2-day shoot inside the ballroom with this cake, with these extras, with all of these other scene elements that were happening. And then on day 2, we had to drop this cake and get them all mucky, and it had to be funny, and it had to be technically accurate. That was the one that I was really, really uptight about, because there was no margin for error, and there were lots of opportunities for error. So, that was the most technical filmmaking we did on it. And the funny thing is that when it came to the actual shot of the cake going into their faces, because that whole cake was foam, rubber, and latex. And so for the most part, the cake is phony, and it's just it's a fake cake. And so we could do a lot with it and drop it, and it just bounced, and then you could drop it again. But when it came to getting them dirty, we had a couple of duplicate costumes for them. And there was a plan to get them showered and hair and makeup redone as fast as possible. But I just knew that I was going to lose too much time, and I needed to just get it done in as few takes as possible. And it was me and my production designer off camera. And we were, at the count of 3, we threw the cake and the icing into their faces, and it was a bullseye.
Wow.
It was an absolute bullseye. And we watched it And we just decided to keep moving on, and we had it. So I lucked out. That was the luckiest break on this entire film, was getting the cake in their faces on the first take, the first and only take. Yeah, that was it. And then the one that I was really excited to do was the V&A scene at the Victoria and Albert Museum, the scene at night in the museum. It just
beautiful.
That was the scene. That's my favorite scene in the book. And
when he clicked that music on, I was like, oh, come on now, come on.
Yeah. That was the one I was most looking forward to. We were locked into the V&A overnight. We had it all to ourselves. It was pretty magical, and it was just the two of them. You know, there were no extras. There was a very, the crew. We were just all like a family at that point, and so it was a real night at the museum. And then picking that music, because I know in the book it's Elton John's "Your Song," and which I knew instinctively wasn't gonna work for us in the film. It just wasn't the right sound. And so we auditioned a lot of different songs, and on set, we used that one. We used the Perfume Genius, and my Perfume Genius was gonna do a new cover of an older song for us that we really were excited about. And then I cut together the assembly of the film, and we watched the scene with Perfume Genius's "Can't Help Falling in Love," and we knew it was the right song, and it was perfect. And so that was another lucky break, because the song that we just decided to use on set was the song we ended up using in the film.